Peace and blessings, beloved souls. This is your favorite auntie, Rev.Empress, Chakra Wanda, host of the Spiritual H.O.E.
Turn right onto North Carolina 115 South.
So yeah, this morning I was blessed with a beautiful interview. Well, it turned into a conversational / interview exchange with, I would say, another spiritual
Continue on North Carolina 115 South for 1.5 miles.
Is this your first time watching my videos? It's not what you think. I am a spiritual tool, like a gardening tool, like a hoe that digs deep and shares the aspects of my everyday life and those that I interact with and those that I get an opportunity to serve. So with the Spiritual H.O.E. podcast, it's just talking about the concept of digging deep and living an awakened life. So this morning, I had talked with two friends, and as I've launched this podcast and this movement of support that I'm offering and sharing as a woman of wisdom, who's decided a long time ago to wake up from the coma of the third dimension and to decide how to filter and navigate and operate anything that I'm faced with in life from a higher dimension, higher perspective, knowing that provision is made, that I have all the tools necessary to do so, and I have the receipts from being on the planet for physically 65 years, but I am an ageless spirit. So this morning's conversation, I got permission to record it, and my beautiful, one of my beautiful sister spirit friends, who I've never really met in person, but doing live streaming on Periscope many years ago, 2015.
In a 1/4 mile, turn right onto North Carolina 73, Samford Road.
And she told me about myself. That's right. Tatiana told me about myself. So y'all gotta tune in and listen to this.
Take the next right onto North Carolina 73, Samford Road.
You need to have a Tatiana in your life, and others who vibrate with you, know how to walk in this dimension and go higher.
Continue on North Carolina 73 for 1.5 miles.
Who also just choose to live in that space of digging deep. So take a listen. I know you're going to enjoy this. And leave a comment below. Would love to know that you stopped by. I would appreciate understanding and knowing how the work over the years, especially since we've had deep conversations. We've never even physically met, but cherish your feedback. How can I'm asking those that are close to me, how can I best serve, and how have I served in the past, and what would you say that I would need to expand on or continue with, and or both? And I appreciate your input.
All right. So I do believe that you should continue to keep beating. And as far as like what I have been experiencing throughout the years, I've actually seen you, I believe, since 2015 or 2016. I've actually seen like a shift in your consciousness. I've seen just a lot of transformation, and I recognize your connection to the divine, and I've also been able to experience how you navigate through the spiritual and the physical world. It is absolutely amazing. It's inspiring. It's transformative to one's own life if they're actually paying attention. You have been able to like use your creativity and your art form, and that is like it's inspirational, and it actually for me it has like inspired me to not be afraid of who I am. It inspired me to, you know, navigate through my own spiritual and physical world that I reside in, you know. Because one of the things I also recognize is that, you know, in the spirit world, you know, we connect and we understand and we attract based on our spiritual awareness, right?
Yeah.
And then in the physical world, see, everybody is having a different physical experience on this plane based on their spiritual state, right?
Yeah.
And you have been able to like demonstrate through your own experiences how to navigate like both worlds. Just like when we were talking earlier, you said, you know, being in the midst, something about like how to like basically still fix your crown, you know. Some things may be looking a certain kind of way, but you fix your crown. And I remember us writing down like that direct quote. But you say a lot of things that I know are spirit-led, but they're profound if one is actually listening. You know, you're like a facilitator. You help co-facilitate people, and you help them navigate, you know, on their spiritual journey. Because I love the fact that not only are you spiritual, but you're also intellectual. So you take, you know, knowledge. For example, I never heard of, you know, the etheric conversation with you, and you were able to basically give me definition or give me a knowledge base to be able to help me understand what I was spiritually experiencing that I could not articulate with another human being, but you understood it, and you were able to help me, you know, with the intellectual component of trying to be able to express that. And I thought, man, that's powerful. So you're a teacher. You're a teacher.
Yeah.
You're a teacher.
And hearing from you all helps me to understand, you know, we each are tools, and that's the main concept of the spiritual whole concept that came about in full circle. Spirit reminded me of the life gardening, or each of us are gardens, and we do have the tools that are necessary. Each of our tools are different, right? And each of us are not the same in how we actually till the ground of our life and navigate through all the different sections of our life. Spiritual encouragement, spiritually encouraging my soul, myself, has been a thing for years. Because who are we with the most is yourself, right? You're with yourself like the longest since you've been on this planet, and you're with your thoughts, and you're with that conversation within the chambers of your heart with the divine. It is only over time that you may start to recognize, because others share with you the type of tool that you are, right? And some of us we don't even think twice. We just realize that we're in a certain energy or connection in conversations with people or certain things in our lives as we go along, and the tool is activated. It gets heightened. It's like it's hard to explain, but it's like this exchange that we're having. To those who may be... Go ahead.
Well, I was thinking about, what I really like is that I said you were ageless, and I like that because you have so much freedom in your expression, both physically and spiritually. Like we were talking, and you were like, yeah, I thought about this spiritual H.O.E thing, and I love how you were free and being able to express that, because most people, the moment you say the word H.O.E,
right,
they would immediately, took that as a negative, connotation or whatever, and you was like, and I was like, oh, I love that, because I knew what a spiritual, I knew not what a spiritual H.O.E was, but I knew what a H.O.E was, and I knew that you would not have used it in the way in which I would have used it with my girlfriend. I know, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because I know who you are. So even hearing you say spiritual H.O.E, I'm like, oh yeah, about a garden,
Exactly. Because my energy, yes.
I knew that. And I like how free you are to express who you are. And that is so much liberation in watching you display your ability to just be free in the spirit realm, to be free in the physical realm. And even when, you go through certain things, to be able to be transparent about, hey, listen, this is what's happening, this is what's going on, and I'm about to go and ground myself and recenter myself. But God, see, this is what's happening. And, one thing that I love is that you don't have a problem with displaying that. And whether somebody feels some kind of way about it or not, you don't care, because you realize that this is what's happening with us all the time. Yes. And a lot of times we're so busy, displaying what looks good or appears good to humanity, to where we struggle to navigate what's really real in our world as we're navigating the physical and the spiritual world. And what I like is that you have displayed both over the time frame that I've known you. You have been able to express both. And I mean, that is an art within itself, because most people aren't willing to be that real.
And that is so true.
You're real. You are. When I first saw you, I was like, who is this? I want to know who this is, because one, your voice is already, your voice is strength. You speak strength. You speak strong. You have very strong, views. You have very strong, you have a spiritual stance that, hey, this is my spiritual stance, and this is what I believe, and I love that you don't waver from who you are. Now, you consider other ideas and other thoughts, but you don't waver from the essence of who you are, and that is very powerful. And your voice speaks of strength, your voice speaks of courage, your voice speaks of a warrior, and I recognize that when I talk to you, and even as you're navigating through experiences in your own life, I have been able to have conversations with you, and I'm like, dang, oh my God, this is powerful, because as you're talking, you're also teaching yourself, identifying certain things, and I'm like, this woman is amazing, and like I said, you're a mirror, you you mirror back to people like who they are at the core or who they would like to be, and you say, hey, you know, you can navigate through this world, but you have to do it on a etheric level before you can actually go back into this physical world and be, because we got to get you in the spirit, because the spirit is where you really dwell.
Yes.
But we also help you navigate through this physical world. And I've been able to experience you. And then when you have done interviews and conversations with people, the transparency is, I mean, and I'm talking about it, you have had raw transparency. And that's a gem. That's magical, because most times people are not really trying to hear someone who is spiritual speak like you speak, but you speak the truth about what we're really experiencing. Like when, you know, I was sharing with you about my, you know, spiritual relationship.
Right.
Not many people get that.
Right.
Not many people get, you know, how you have had past lives with someone else, and how you're trying to navigate through a past life and a current life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the twin flame journey and all of that. Yes.
You get that. You get that. So you also are, what do you call it? A recognizer. You recognize. You recognize.
Yeah.
You know, certain aspects about people, and then you're bold. You know, people used to, when I was younger, there would be the scripture that my grandma used to, and my nanny used to always refer to when they think about me, and I believe it was like Isaiah 40:31 or something, but it talked about, you know, mounting your wings up like an eagle. It talked about strength and courage and all of these things, and how, so I see that in you, like the strength, the courage, how you are bold, how your spirit is bold, and you're just powerful. Like you're a navigator. You're powerful. Like you help people co-create. You're a co-facilitator. You're a teacher. You're a teacher. You're a teacher. Like that's what I feel. You teach people how to navigate, and then you also have instruments. Like you're an artist. You're a musician. You know what I'm saying? Like you help. That warrior part of you will basically, what do you call it? You repel things, like you get rid of them. You help people get rid of certain things that's in their spirit, but you also have a way of being able to connect, and that's powerful, because everybody can't connect and still be able to transmute the energy that needs to happen so the person can actually live a good life, you know, or live a life and being able to navigate, navigate. And you're able to do all of that. And usually, sometimes, depending on where somebody is spiritually, they can only get you but so far. But you navigate dimensions. And by you being able to navigate the dimensions, you can see what's happening on the 2D, 3D, and then you can go back into the etheric realm and be able to see what's going on there, and then you're able to come back and bring it back and say, okay, well, let's get on this plane, and then let's go back to this plane, because what you're trying to do is help people raise their vibration and navigate so that they can be the radiant light that you inspire to be every day, and you are. Like, you are that light, but even when that light has been dimmed, you always go back to the light. I've seen it, even with the apartment experience.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I've seen it.
And I appreciate that, and for those that are tuning in, this is a beautiful soul that I intersected with back in, did we say 2015? Is that right?
Yeah. It was like 2015, 2017.
Yeah.
2016.
And we never really physically met, but yet we know of each other through divine synchronicity of acknowledgement of the spirit that we share. Okay, this spiritual awareness and living that we share, even though we haven't physically met. And I posed the question, as she has always been supportive, as I'm sitting in my life garden, as I'm utilizing, this idea of spiritual hoeing, tilling the land, looking at everything around me, how to repurpose for a new purpose. And she's always been a great listening ear. And I just asked the question, how have I been of service? How can I continue to be of service in the space that I am in the season of life? And what she has shared for me to sit and listen as I take notes and be able to reflect on gives me fuel to continue to be in this space and expand in it, to be an added value on the planet to others. It is healing. It is healing to be heard, and it is healing to listen. Each of us are fashioned as beautiful tools to be able to hold our own lives, y'all. On a serious tip, what has been fueling me these days, we're into the last day of the year of 2023, August, until now, I experienced major shift in the way that I receive and been able to take care of myself through the third dimension, through my business. And it's shifted in such a major way that caused me to go back into my life garden and to look at all the tools that I've been fashioned with and to repurpose. So I'm repurposing, desiring to expand in the work that I love to do as a professional spiritual encourager. That's what I consider myself. Ask Mama Wanda. And now here we are with the Spiritual H.O.E. podcast, which is diving deep. I enjoy and appreciate and am honored to be able to sit and listen and hear. This is not an egoic thing to boost myself up, but actually it's a part of my survival. It really is. Healing, to understand the tool that I am, and to be a mirror and reflect on others, encourage you to dive deeper and to expand in the tool that you are. I'm speaking with this beautiful soul, Tatiana. Inspired mirror work has been her work for many, many years. So it's not often, as she mentioned, I can be bold and transparent. I'm an introvert. I'm an extroverted introvert. But as introverts, as working in our lives and living an awakened life and deciding that we no longer want to be limited by the third dimensional view and choose to see things that were presented to us from a higher perspective, fourth and fifth dimension. And so as you learn these tools and skills and as you awaken out of the coma from the hamster wheel, you can't go back to the old, way. You can't go back to the old. It just doesn't taste any. It's like sitting at the table with a spoiled meal. Something that is outdated. You got to get a fresh plate. And so being able to do so is being able to have those that you are aligned with, that you can pick up a phone call, you might have even met, and they don't even know how important they are to you, to remind us of the tools that we are. And that's what every day now, I'm choosing, what if this was my last day, right? What am I leaving in this day, in this moment, in this exchange so that the last memory of our intersection is one of substance, it's one of meaning, it's fuel, it's fertilizer, it's soil, it's seed for you to continue to navigate on this physical plane from a higher dimension. So I give gratitude to Tatiana inspired mirror work.
What you just said was like so powerful, and I'm over here like, so you just said something really powerful, because a lot of times in my own spirit, I have connected with people when I've lost my way, right?
Yes.
And I have forgotten who I was, right? Or not even forgotten, but needed to be reminded of who I am. And I just love, like, when you're intuitive or insightful enough to be able to remind somebody of who they are. Because for whatever reason in our lives, we get distracted from the I am, you know? And instead of being, you know, sometimes we struggle to navigate through the being and that physical world of, like, you know, we gotta do this, we gotta do that, we gotta do this, we gotta figure out that, we gotta that. And you get bombarded with those things sometimes, and then you start flowing and operating in that space. And then it's not until you have a conversation, like, with someone like you, or with other spiritual coaches or metaphysical teachers that I've experienced in my life, that not even just them verbalizing it, but the energy exchange that happens even just in communication is like, oh shit. Like, I was connecting with folks who was vibrating at a different frequency, so I ended up being sucked dry of my energy, and now I have to go to a different light source so that I can be reminded of how my light switch works, because sometimes that happens, and it's true, and sometimes it happens. So you connect with folks, and they be like, hey, you're light, and your shit is bright, you know?
Right.
And you're like, oh, okay. And this happens on the nonverbal, you know, like, in the nonverbal way, and you're like, oh, wow. And it's refreshing, it's renewal, it's refreshing, it's a something, I can't even explain it, because it just happens in a spiritual realm, and it happens on a non-physical level, to where you feel it, and you're navigating through it, and you're like, oh, wow, like, wow, this is what I've been seeking, not even knowing that I was seeking it, right?
Right.
So just talking to you today, not knowing that I was seeking this type of energy exchange, and this is an energetic exchange, right?
Yes.
I didn't realize that I was seeking this type of energy exchange, and just so happened, as a result of our communication, I'm over here like, wow, I needed this conversation, I needed this experience, I needed this for my I am, you know?
Yes.
And I'm great, and I feel good about it, and I feel good about the exchange of energy, because I'm not going to walk away feeling different, except for being able to feel different on a higher vibration.
Yes.
I'm not going to feel different in another kind of way. You understand what I'm saying? So this exchange is a fit, you You know what I'm saying? It's perfect, and I'm grateful for it.
And,
so thank you.
And I am too, that you said it allowed me to record this, being the last day of 2023, and I was just making real connections with the very few in the spiritual tribes that I am connected to. Be able to receive feedback as I'm asking the question of how have I served and how can I better serve, being exactly who I am. Ask Mama Wanda, Rev.Empress, however y'all feel comfortable. But this has been a fueling for me as I continue to walk in faith of knowing that I can add value each day that I choose to encourage myself, and as I reflect on whatever that I'm hearing in the spirit that I want to speak about and say, I'm encouraging myself, and as I do, I share it with others for them to be encouraged too. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. I was looking at your page while we were talking, and I'm like, okay, so the other word is alchemist.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Alchemist. Yeah.
Thank you. And I appreciate, you trusting me enough, to hear what my spirit has to offer.
Yeah.
Because I know that you have to trust somebody to be able to believe in what they're transmitting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm stopping that recording right now. I would appreciate understanding and knowing how to value each day that I choose to encourage myself, and as I reflect on whatever that I'm hearing in the spirit that I want to speak about and say, I choose to encourage myself, and as I reflect on whatever that I'm hearing in the spirit that I want to speak about and say, I'm encouraging myself, and as I do, I share it with others for them to be encouraged too. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. I was looking at your page while we were talking, and I'm like, okay, so the other word is alchemist.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Alchemist. Yeah.
Thank you. And I appreciate, you trusting me enough, to hear what my spirit has to offer.
Yeah.
Because I know that you have to trust somebody to be able to believe in what they're transmitting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But go ahead.
So in our conversation a few moments ago, I was guided to say something to you, but in the moment, I couldn't interject at that moment. So what I'm asking you right now is to, trust me spiritually right now. And what I heard when you were talking and we were having a discussion is that I need you to be everything that you are. Everything, I just need you to operate in your being. Because everything that you desire, everything that you need, everything that you want is in being. And you're going to attract those things. If I don't say nothing else, I mean nothing else, I want you to operate in that place where you surrender to God. You surrender to the Spirit. And when you surrender, everything that you need. And you know, like I know, that everything that you've always needed has always been provided for you. Right now, it's a matter of just surrendering and being who you are, and everything that you need is going to attract itself to you. So you don't have to, try to figure out, you got enough content, you got everything that you need, you just got to be. And those things that you need, they're going to flow to you, they're going to come to you, they're going to blow your mind, because you're just that powerful. I need you to operate in your attraction. Operate in the moment that you're at. Surrender. Open up all those portals by not knowing what's coming and not being able to control how it's coming or what's going. I just need you to flow. I need you to open up. Open up like never before. Open up those portals. Open up that heart. Open up that space where you just surrender. And allow God to just create wonders in your life. And this is where you just go leave and surrender and let go of everything that you think that you need. You don't need. You got it. It's in you. It's in you. You don't have to go create no more other content. You don't have to go find no other content. You don't have to do none of that. What you have to do is just surrender, because everything that you need is going to be provided for you once you continue to operate in your being and surrender. Surrender, surrender, surrender. And that's really what I'm encouraging, and what I heard Spirit say is like, just be.
Hey, girl. Completely received. Thank you, my friend.